This is DoNotCiv. Well, 2012, not surprisingly, is turning out to be the year of stupid. We often think of people who have religious views, irrational, unfounded, unhistorical, unproven, religious faiths, as being the sole lien holders on all the crazy mental property. Well, that is simply not true. There's plenty of crazy atheists out there. Let me give you just a few examples. One from personal experience that I encountered just a few days ago. I was out with some folks, went out for dinner, and there was a lady at the table who started talking about chemtrails. And I looked at her and I thought, is she fucking serious? And then I figured out, I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to start an argument at the dinner table. Then I realized she was serious. She actually believes that the government is flying planes around and spraying us with chemicals. Now, I did not engage. I was reluctant really even to do much in the way of making eye contact. In fact, I was kind of getting a little anxious about having the dinner conclude as soon as possible and just getting the hell out of there. I found it surprising that, not that I haven't seen people online talking about this, but I found it surprising to be sitting directly across the table from somebody who believes in something this fucking batshit. Government spraying us with chemtrails? It's beyond crazy. It's beyond crazy. And this woman didn't belong to any church. She wasn't a Seventh-day Adventist or Catholic or Protestant or Mormon or Hindu and Advaitin. Not a Muslim. Not a Jew. Just a crazy fucking atheist. That's all. There are also a lot of people now. This used to just be an eyebrow raiser to hear all these people talking about HAARP, HAARP. What does this stand for? Harmonics something or other. Hang on a second. High Frequency Active Oral Research Program. HAARP. HAARP. There are a lot of people who think the U.S. military and the CIA is using HAARP to manipulate weather. Hugo Chavez said that the United States had used HAARP to cause the earthquake in Haiti. Recently, some Russian scientists, because they were under threat of losing their jobs because their most recent Martian space probe failed again. I guess the Russians are 0 for 19 in terms of getting a probe onto Mars. So Medvedev was just furious that yet another satellite probe had fallen out of the sky, that they blamed the United States and said that we had targeted their space probe and knocked it out of the sky. Well, of course this is ridiculous. It's passing the buck. And this used to be a curiosity on the internet. It used to be something that would raise a few eyebrows. But this view that the HAARP antenna array has these capabilities is now so widespread across the internet and society that it's no longer a harmless piece of idiocracy. This is now becoming pervasive. This fucking batshit theory that you can manipulate the weather with EM radiation. Oh, some people even Like Hugo Chavez think you can even move continents around. I mean, the scientific illiteracy that's the mountainous scientific illiteracy that is growing ever larger in this country and around the world is no longer harmless. It's now approaching frightening proportions. The degree of engineering and scientific illiteracy is now approaching frightening proportions. And it doesn't end there. There are people who think the United States has deep underground military bases or DUMBs where we're keeping space aliens, greys, sequestered and hidden from the public. All right? What else? What's some other crackpot fucking bullshit that's out there? Oh, the whole, the belief in the so-called New World Order. I mean, that surpassed, on a scale of 1 to 10, that surpassed the 11 threshold a long time ago in terms of lunacy and nuttiness. There's no New World Order, folks. There's just a bunch of fucked up, clueless governments around the world run by stupid people who don't know what buttons to push. Okay? I know it makes you feel good thinking that there's some Dr. Evil type organization out there that's secretly in charge, running things from an underground lair, the Dr. Evil lair. It doesn't exist. The world is run by fools and idiots, and there's nothing more complicated about it than that. What's another lunatic I saw out there? This guy, Lyndon LaRouche, who thinks he thinks the entire global Great Recession / Depression that occurred in 2008, he thinks that was caused by British aristocracy and a criminal British banking cartel. And he goes on and on and on and on about this. Another fucking nutcase who has the attention of millions of people out there. What else? What's some other batshit crazy lunatic theories that are being promulgated? Oh, FEMA camps. That's right. The fact that the government is setting up FEMA camps in order to imprison us, to declare martial law and imprison us, and, I don't know, conduct some weird satanic Dr. Mengele type experiments on us, a la the Nazis in World War II, what they did to the Jews and Gypsies. Yeah, there's people who believe that. There's people who believe that. And a lot of these people are atheists. Okay? There's people that don't believe in peak oil. For whatever reason. They think the earth has like a chewy caramel center of oil and heavy hydrocarbons that we can suck out with steel straws forever and ever. Or they believe that it's just a vast conspiracy by the oil companies. Or Obama, that Obama is somehow manipulating the price of oil on the world trading bourses. Do you know how many trillions of dollars change hands every day in the trading pits all around the world? It's beyond the ability of even the largest government on earth to manipulate, let alone one man. But I hear people say all the time, oh, Obama's raising the price of gas. As if that were even fucking remotely possible. Why? To get people to go green, buy Chevy Volts. This shit is everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay? And it's shocking at this point. This is no longer fun. This is no longer a curiosity, a harmless curiosity, a harmless detour into screwball conspiracy theory. There is now so many people that believe this fucking crap. It's approaching dangerous levels. It really is. 9/11. I agree. There are some things that, I'm not fully, I don't think have been adequately explained, not to my satisfaction, but I am not going to go so far as to think that we pre-placed explosive charges in the towers and brought down the towers with explosive charges. I mean, the minute I go there, I might as well sacrifice all my intellectual integrity, all of it, if I were to go there and participate in that batshit conspiracy horseshit. But it's spreading and growing all around the world. People are just, they're losing their minds. That's really what's happening here. People are just simply losing their fucking minds. En masse. En masse. And these conspiracy theories are just growing and growing and growing and acquiring ever more deranged, unhinged, mentally disordered followers by the day. I mean, even The Nation magazine, a normally, admittedly, very left-wing publication, but normally respectable in terms of journalistic integrity, even The Nation magazine ran one of these fucking HARP articles. Shit is off the hook, man. It's getting out of control. And I don't know that it can be reeled in at this point. I don't know that it could be reeled in. It's really scary to me, because I'm starting to wonder, once you reach critical mass in society with X number of people believing in this crap, where X is, I don't know what that threshold is, 5%, 10%. You have the potential there for real, genuine political upheaval. You say, well, change is good. Yeah. How'd you like the change you got with Obama? Oh, now we'd be talking about change under the aegis of a band of lunatics who believe in HARP and chemtrail and FEMA camps and deep underground military bases and space aliens and teleportation. We wouldn't have change coming to us from somebody with, driven by somebody with a modicum of sanity. You may not like his policies, but Obama is, however you choose to characterize him, the man is sane. Okay, he's rational and he's sane. But what scares me is the Alex Jones crowd, the David Icke crowd. You ever listen to that guy, David Icke? Whoo! Professor Moonbeam from Zeta Reticuli, that guy, that guy is so off the map with his reptilian space aliens coming down and walking among us, and wow. That whole crowd, that Alex Jones crowd, Jesse Ventura, that balding, stringy-haired lunatic, former governor of Minnesota who has this conspiracy show. I don't even know if it's still on the air. One of the most ridiculous television shows of all time. Absolutely nuts. That crowd. David Wilcock. You ever seen that? You ever seen that Looney Tune? You ever heard him? I can't even begin to keep up with that guy. He's so nuts. all his... I don't know how that... I don't know, do they let him out of his padded cell and undo the straps on his straitjacket so that he can, you know, type his daily message, so that he can tweet and do his daily blog post? And what do they give him, like a heavy dose of Thorazine every morning so that he can semi-function for a few hours? I mean, that guy, I've never seen somebody so absolutely batshit crazy as that guy. And again, a lot of these people are atheists. So this idea that the crazy domain is the sole province, the sole bailiwick of organized religion and its followers is simply incorrect. Plenty of crazy atheists out there to go around who believe in all kinds of fucking crazy shit, right? You just look at this, the New Age community, and you say, well, that's a religion. Well, not in the tribal sense, like Hinduism or Judaism, and not in the worldly religious sense, like Christianity or Islam or Buddhism. Not in either of those two senses. In the batshit crazy sense, yeah, okay, I guess New Ageism with homeopathy and crystal healing and metal pyramids for channeling energy and weekend clinics to discover ways of telepathically communicating with aliens. Okay. I guess you could call that a quasi-religion. And it's just, it's everywhere. I think, I'm relatively certain about this, in fact, that there's only a small percentage of sane people left on Earth. I think it's less than 10%. It might even be less than 5%. And I know I seem so angry at times that my sanity could be called into question. I call it into question sometimes myself. But I haven't sacrificed my intellectual integrity. I haven't sacrificed my scientific credentials. I've at least not gone that far yet. You know, I've at least got, you know, still standing on the edge, haven't gone off the edge like a lot of these nuts. But I'm just wondering how many sane people are left on Earth. I mean, it's really frightening. 80, I don't have the pie chart in front of me, but what, 85% of the world belongs to some type of organized religion. What, 2 billion Christians, 1.5 billion Muslims, what's that, 3.5 billion? How many Hindus? At least 1 billion. Right, so now we're up to, it's got to be more than that. There's 1.2 billion people living in India. It's a tribal religion. So at least 1 billion. So that's 2, 3.5, that's 4.5 billion. How many Buddhists are there? At least 1 billion. So now we're up to what, 5.5 billion. Now throw in everybody else, the Zoroastrians, you know, the Wiccans. Oh, Jews, forgot about Jews. I don't know how many Jews are in the world. Well, I don't have that number, but I mean, you add it all, that's got to be at least, you know, we're talking at least 6 billion. Right? People belong to some organized religion. And then, like I said, then there's all these crazy fucking atheists who believe in all this other horse shit. So what's that leave? Maybe 500 million sane people on Earth? You know, not even 10% of the global population. These are guesstimates, wild-ass guesstimates to be sure, but they're not that far off. This is really frightening. How are you going to fix a world where the vast majority of people are clinically insane? You know what the DSM is? Diagnostic and Statistics Manual. It's what psychologists, psychiatrists, and neurologists use as a diagnostic tool. Right? It establishes a common terminology of mental illness. so that people can communicate across the board with peers and professionals in the medical community, the mental health community, and they all have a common language, a common way of understanding and diagnosing mental illness. Well, I was always curious, why is it that, you know, how come the DSM criteria for schizophrenia, say, how come that's not applied to Christians or Muslims? And the answer is, I found out, the DSM provides an exemption for organized religion. Did you know that? Yeah. Because if they didn't, then 90% of the people on earth would be crazy, diagnosed as crazy, which they are. But we see the cowardice among the mental health community. They're not willing to tackle that. They're not willing to call religious belief and faith a mental illness, which it is. So, in order to keep their profession going, they provided an exemption for the 5 major world religions. Right? How convenient. Controversy avoided. We get to keep our profession and our paychecks, our income stream. But that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know it, and I know it. If you're one of the 10% sane people left on Earth. Anyway, I don't know where to take this. There's no cure for it. You can't, when 90% of the people on Earth are crazy, you can't cure that. You can't fix that. That's terminal. As in death for the species. Now, it hasn't happened yet. We haven't had the big red button pushed, the global thermonuclear holocaust. But it's got to be in the cards. We can't count on sane, rational people in government. Just look at the GOP candidates. Look at who's running. The 3... Hell, throw in Ron Paul. He's a theist as well. A little nicer. He has a little nicer, sweeter disposition than the other 3 idiots. He's not a psychopath like Gingrich or Romney. But look at these guys. Look at that. Just rabid, foaming at the mouth Christian ideologues. And this is who 50% of the country thinks would be good to have in the White House, good to have in the Oval Office. No. There's no hope. There's no hope for this country, and there's no hope for the species. No. I don't believe it for a second. Not when you're looking at this kind of disparity, this kind of disproportional imbalance in the scales of sanity versus insanity. Not a chance. Not a chance. Can't be fixed, can't be cured, not going to cure it through therapy. I don't know whether it's worth having the argument that this is primarily due to nature versus nurture, whether it's an underlying genetic component, a built-in schizophrenia within the brain. Maybe it is. Maybe it's built-in schizophrenia. That's a possibility. Would sure explain a lot. Can't all be nurture. Large part of, if you're raised in a fundamentalist household with extreme parents who have extreme religious views, yeah, that's going to fuck up your brain. And you're probably never going to be able to overcome that and get over it for as long as you live. That's going to be with you. So certainly the nurture component is there. But I don't know. It's probably not all nurture. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to end this video. This is one of the most depressing goddamn things I've ever considered, because there's positively, absolutely no way out of this conundrum, this dilemma. It would explain why the human species is a species with a history of nothing but war and conflict. What else would you expect from a species that's inherently insane? What would you expect? Peace, love, harmony? No. Our history is exactly the kind of history you'd expect from a bunch of ugly, tawdry, greedy, selfish, mutated primates. You'd expect burning villages. You'd expect pogroms. You'd expect slavery. You'd expect battles and wars, endless wars. Which is exactly what we've had, dating back to the earliest known human settlements. You can't fix this. Ain't no way. Ain't no way this can be fixed. And you can't just lay it all at the feet of institutionalized, organized religion either. There's something inherently broken in our species, mentally broken within us. No doubt about it. All right, that's all I have to say on the subject. I'll talk to you later.